I try to be objective with all of my sports coverage, and listen, Jacy Sheldon objectively should be suspended for this play. I just don't know in what world, in what universe you watch that play back and you go, that was a basketball play. She was trying to make a basketball move, especially with all the angles of this play.
The latest outrage, a vicious and reckless play by Jacy Sheldon that targeted none other than Caitlin Clark, women's basketball's most valuable player and the league's greatest draw, has left the WNBA community in a state of deafening uproar and boiling frustration. Fans are demanding the one thing that could truly make a difference, a painful financial penalty, after what appeared to be a clear attack. If you feel that the league should suspend her comment, suspend Sheldon below, and let's move on.
Sheldon was clearly targeting Caitlin Clark most of this game, and that is, that comes from a function of, she guarded her in one-on-one situations a lot up the court, and then rolled into a lot of doubles in the half court, but there was talking and chirping all game, and for me, it was punctuated by Caitlin Clark's final play before she came out of the game, where she stares Jacy Sheldon down, essentially demonstrates, she's like, if you poke me in my eye, I will shoot it in yours. And she crosses her, finds the favorite spot, free throw line extended from the logo area, big U3 to Jacy Sheldon, yells at the Connecticut bench, yells at the crowd.
From TikTok to Twitter, fans are calling for a suspension, not just a slap on the wrist, but a real, money-guzzling, career-checking suspension that sends a crystal-clear message to the rest of the league that if the referees don't step up and protect Caitlin Clark on the court, then it's time for the league office to enforce justice from the top down. The outrage is spreading like wildfire, with posts demanding accountability taking over sports forums with hashtags like #BanJacy Sheldon trending in real time.
Every time Caitlin Clark takes the court, her opponents act like they've been booked for a main event brawl. The WNBA is doing nothing about it. Opponents aren't playing ball. They're strategically ambushing her. They're trying to injure her. Opponents bring chaos. She brings composure. And what Sophie did last night is completely valid. The WNBA has to do something about that.
The incident that sparked this controversy occurred during what should have been a routine game between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun. But instead it turned into yet another horrific chapter in the story of Caitlin Clark being singled out. And this time it was so obviously obscene that even the most casual fans couldn't ignore it.
Clark and Jacy Sheldon. There's a legitimate hatred there. If you guys have heard, this Ohio State team, this 2023 Ohio State team, hated that Iowa team. And this is Jacy Sheldon, who was Caitlin Clark's direct matchup in these games. Like I tweeted out, forget Angel, forget Dejanay. This is Caitlin Clark's one true rival.
Instead of merely defending herself, Jacy Sheldon attacked and surgically poked her fingers into Caitlin Clark's eye, smiling as if she had just won a carnival prize. The smile thereafter gave fans everywhere chills. This was a targeted, intentional action taken against the lone player currently carrying the league on her back. It wasn't a sloppy reach-in or a hustle gone wrong.
Funny thing about that whole Caitlin and Jacy situation last night is it's like on a if you know thing. These two have been running the friendly fade on the court for like the last 4 years. They played in college, had great battles, so I'm not surprised last night happened.
And it continued after that as Clark staggered and flinched due to the eye poke. When it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, Marina Maberry came from behind and used the opportunity to blindside Clark with a shove that sent her crashing to the hardwood. Where were the referees during all of this, watching blindly and sipping invisible tea as if nothing had happened? Sheldon continued her attack, grabbing Clark's arm and digging her nails in a cheap shot with no basketball value and no intention of going for the ball.
Oh, you know what? I'm just going to be me. I don't go in there trying to predetermine anything. I'm dialed in. I need to focus on hitting my shots, making sure I'm executing the schemes right. I'm not focused on the extracurricular activities. And you know what? During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so it's all good.
Within hours, fans reacted with the rage of a crowd that had been ignored for far too long. Sheldon's social media accounts were swamped by criticism and requests for bans, fines, and suspensions erupted online. Everyone agreed that something had to be done, even though some were upset and others were devastated. Sheldon wasn't being treated like a tough rival. Rather, she was being called out as a resentful agitator who had no right to use dirty tactics to harm the league's face.
It from behind or from the side, it's so obvious that she straight up leapt out towards Caitlyn and got her right in the eye. And the more I try and watch it back and you try to be objective, there is no world where this was a basketball play. And yes, she was playing tough defense on Caitlyn up until that point, but she leapt forward. And it's not like it's defensible where you can say she tried to get the ball, because her hand at that point was so far away from where the ball was. It's not like Caitlyn was dribbling the ball up near her face. How she was not ejected for this, I don't know. The broadcast was talking about it, and that's why Sophie Cunningham even had the opportunity to hard foul her at the end. I don't know what you do, but the league's got to do something.
Late-night presenters and sports celebrities were unable to ignore it. And even Jimmy Fallon took a break using humor to convey a serious point on national television in order to safeguard Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports. On the other hand, blasted the Connecticut pair, calling Sheldon and Maberry envious loser punks who ought to be playing rec league ball instead of sharing a professional court with someone like Clark. That degree of ire doesn't occur unless the public notices something seriously amiss, which they did. Caitlyn Clark at all costs. Enough is enough.
We'd stop the fighting. He thought they meant the WNBA. What is going on? Protect Caitlyn Clark at all costs, please. Enough of this. Please.
Dr. Ryan Brewer, a financial expert from Indiana University Columbus, claims that Caitlyn Clark is not just a star, but also the economic engine driving the WNBA's expansion, which is why this moment struck such a chord. During her first season, Clark was in charge of an astounding 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity, which is more than 25% of the league's income generated by a single player who, incidentally, was only earning $76,535. According to Brewer's calculations, Clark is expected to contribute over $1 billion to the WNBA's economic worth in 2025 alone. That's not a typo or marketing gimmick. It's $1 billion impact, and it makes she is undoubtedly the most significant player in women's basketball history. So the notion that she is being singled out and left exposed every night is not only incorrect, but also crazy. It is corporate malpractice.
Listen, bring Caitlyn Clark to the NBA right now, because the refs ain't gonna protect her. She only got one teammate, and that's her, who gonna do something about it. Like, yo, yesterday, that's malice in the palace activity. Call for it. That y'all should have been throwing hands all over the place. How do you get poked in the eye, then get thrown to the ground, and then you receive a technical foul? And don't none of your teammates want to step up, fight, squabble, none of that. They just looking like, yo, it's been, we know that y'all been targeting Caitlyn Clark now. Now, I'm even watching. I'm like, hold on, what? Like, how are y'all letting this happen? How are y'all not protecting this girl? Now, she clearly is a superstar, right? But there's plenty superstars in the WNBA, and don't none of them get treated the way Caitlyn Clark get treated. No, y'all gonna mess up and ruin the whole numbers, your ratings, your spawn, all that, if y'all don't have Caitlyn Clark in y'all's league. So y'all better start acting right.
When a player's impact on league exposure and ticket sales is that great interest from sponsors and TV ratings. Allowing her to be abused without facing harsh repercussions is not only a poor appearance, it is a disastrous failure. Clark is being pursued on the court as referees shrug and the league silently moves papers around. If this were any other sport with any other league, there would be ejections, fines, suspensions, and statements by morning. Fans are in shock over the WNBA's handling of the Jacy Sheldon incident. They believe that Sheldon was given a flagrant one foul, hardly more than a slap on the wrist, for what they see as a blatant attack on Caitlyn Clark, while Sophie Cunningham, the only player who had the courage to stand up for Clark, was given a flagrant 2 and an additional fine. Let's get this straight. Attack the league's face, pay a fine, defend her, and receive twice as much punishment. It's like punishing a firefighter for putting out a fire while letting the arsonist off with a warning.
Been a very contentious 12 hours since the game. A lot of people on ESPN saying ridiculous things, like Monica McNutt saying she had no problem with Marina Mabry's foul. And I look at that in comparison to the Sophie Cunningham foul, which I have seen people say has no place in the league, unsportsmanlike, when that actually is a lot more sportsmanlike than the Marina Mabry one. Marina Mabry was completely disconnected from the play, had nothing to do with it. There was no play even going on when Marina Mabry did that.
Yet fans aren't just angry. They're organizing online petitions calling for harsher punishments for violent birds. These petitions have amassed thousands of signatures in a short period of time, and Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms have been ablaze with indignation. Fans aren't just venting, though. They're suggesting tangible changes. Many are demanding tens of thousands of dollars in fines, arguing that anything less than a month's pay isn't a serious penalty. Some are even proposing that Clark receive a portion of the fines directly as compensation for the repeated physical abuse she has suffered on the court. And to be honest, the logic tracks. If that eye poke had really damaged Clark's vision, the WNBA wouldn't just be losing a star. They would be losing millions of dollars in potential revenue. She is more than just a player. She is the force behind ticket sales, TV viewership spikes, and merchandise shelves being emptied every time she takes the court. Local economies benefit from this type of draw, which is impossible to fake or duplicate, yet the league still treats her like she is expendable.
What you have in Caitlin Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent. She was massively successful in college, and that's transcended into the WNBA, where she's leaps and bounds above pretty much most every player there. You're allowing her to get beaten up on the regular during games, flagrant fouls, people trying to take her eye out. That's happened a couple different times last year and this year.
Let's discuss numbers. There is no doubt as to who caused the Indiana Fever's franchise value to soar from $90 million to $340 million. After letting that sink in, Caitlin Clark considered the fact that Jacy Sheldon's punishment for attempting to remove that billion-dollar asset was essentially couch change. It's not just insulting, it's reckless, careless, and unbelievably short-sighted. The discussion is changing, and fans are now demanding that Clark get direct financial compensation for the abuse she's endured this season. And they're not mistaken. Clark makes $78,000 a year working at a poultry restaurant, but she is in charge of almost $1 billion in league income, is a return on investment that any Fortune 500 firm could hope for, yet the league is allowing that golden goose to be clobbered game after game, while enjoying the benefits of her presence, without offering even the most basic safeguards.
One could argue she is an A-level star, and they don't even have B and C-level stars. From A, it drops to D. She is the entire league, and they allow things like this to happen last night against the Connecticut Sun.
Watch when Caitlin Clark is trying to create some space. It looked like she just got hit in the eye there.
Ooh, and Marina Mabry, I missed that one. You don't, huh?
Oh, I missed that one too.
Like, it wasn't just a hard foul accident. Like, there's nothing Caitlin Clark has done in response at this point. So what's the point in bowing up into her face? And immediately, I don't think Caitlin's even extended her arm to push her away. Maybe the coaching is, hey, if you're physical with Caitlin Clark, it's one of the only ways to stop her. Yes. So, like, they're all encouraged to be really physically aggressive. But it's hard not to look at this and think there's animus towards her. You got to protect Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA.
Here is a suggestion. Implementing a protection bonus mechanism for the rounds. A player's salary should be immediately transferred to Clark each time they commit a flagrant foul against him. Alternatively, the league can step in and give Clark bonus money for. With everything she contributes financially, culturally, and competitively, enduring what amounts to open season targeting would be both just and strategic. She should need to rely on public outcry to receive the justice she is due. Let's be honest. The punishment system would be drastically different if the WNBA were even slightly concerned about safeguarding its billion-dollar investment. We're not talking about chump change. True deterrence would entail minimum fines of $25,000 for behavior similar to Sheldon's, which is roughly a quarter of what many players earn in a season. That's a fine that makes you think twice before engaging in dirty play, and fans want automatic multi-game suspensions of at least $50,000 for repeat offenders. The message is to simply show respect for the superstar or risk dire repercussions.
Caitlin Clark is non-disrespectable. That's not even a word, but I'm going to just use it for the point of my video. You cannot disrespect the nucleus of women's basketball and act like it's not going to be a problem, man. Oh, Caitlin Clark could do this, but other people can't. You goddamn right. Because she's the center of women's basketball. We've said this a million times. Clark changed the game. She is the nucleus, the center, the black hole. Everything revolves around Clark with women's basketball, man.
What is causing the fire to burn? Even worse is the referee's repeated, egregious inconsistency. When someone finally comes up to defend her, they are the ones who are punished. Clark is left taking the brunt of the punishment as the instigators skate by, ignoring obvious infractions and brutal hits. This outdated structure encourages the precise kind of risky behavior that might put Clark's career in jeopardy. Let's face it, the atmosphere the league is creating is not only unfair, but dangerous. How can anyone call this a professional league when its most marketable star is treated like a tackling dummy? The people who should be protecting Caitlin Clark the most are letting her down. If nothing changes, the risk is not only that she will get hurt, but that she will be forced to play in a different league. European clubs are already skulking around, ready to give her better compensation, better treatment, and most importantly, better protection. The WNBA is on the verge of collapse, and they may not have another chance to turn things around.
Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. Every game she is dropping golden eggs, and they are trying to strangle the golden goose to death. There's jealousy, there is hate. Everyone in the league seems to hate the fact that Caitlin Clark is making the league relevant. If I were advising Caitlin Clark, I would say start your own pro basketball league for women. I don't know why she benefits from the WNBA at all. She could go out, she is the draw for women's basketball, and set up her own league. She might even be able to own the majority of the league. She could probably become a billionaire. Set it up with far fewer teams. You play far fewer games. Heck, they did it with Live Golf. I think the audience would follow Caitlin Clark wherever she goes.
There is still time to address this, but doing so will force the WNBA to confront a harsh reality. Caitlin Clark is more than simply a player. She is the foundation of their future. Until they treat her with respect, enforcing real penalties for shoddy performance, and offering genuine rewards for her contributions, they are attempting to survive by playing a risky game of roulette. Sheldon should miss multiple games and receive a punishment of at least $25,000. We will see you in the next one. If you agree that the league should suspend or comment, suspend Sheldon below, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss it. Click the video on the screen. Clark deserves a compensation system that reflects her value, and any referee who fails to protect her should be held accountable or replaced.